All right. I will tell you, we got bowl gamed last night with Cam Cook. Cam Cook was supposed to play. Nothing came out. He was in pads for warm-ups. He didn't play. Um, Ended up cashing on a few things, but yeah, Cam Cook exposure. What are you gonna do? Especially if I don't have time to fully check. Now, granted, I have it set up for today because I think today you're gonna have a lot more issues. Um, Getting the mix right for this one is going to be interesting to say the least in today's game. DK, interestingly enough, not offering a 2-game slate and no Delaware. I believe that is due to Delaware being a like a non-available state to wager in. So they're just not even going to offer the game today. Kind of interesting. Um, haven't really looked at what the pricing is on FanDuel for that specific game. I think I'm just going to end up sitting this one out. Too many variables today for me to play FanDuel on that second game, just because you got Lunch Winfield and their running backs banged up, and it's a nightmare for that later game there. A lot of unpredictability, we'll call it, in that spot. So focus today is just going to be on Old Dom and South Florida because it's got enough problems for everybody to try to figure out. We're going to build 3 teams for this sucker. Now, why I say that it's a whole bunch of weirdness is we already know both quarterbacks are out. No Byron Brown for South Florida, meaning Gaston Moore is going to start. He's absolute poo-poo. I mean, the guy literally has 64 pass attempts in 6 years. 34 rushing yards total in his career. I mean, the kid's not really done hardly anything. Then Colton Joseph's out. Now, Quinn Heineckel will get the start. He's a redshirt freshman. He's completed 50% of his passes on the year. In his career. He is mobile. That I know, because he does have a 200-yard game. Let me double check my stats there. Yeah, he had a 200-yard rushing game against Arkansas State last season. So that could play into our hands. So I'm going to buy into the mobility because their coaching staff hasn't changed whatsoever. So that's going to get things to being interesting. Old Dom injury-wise, you got Marquis James, one of the running backs. He's not going to play. That kind of reduces their 3-headed monster to an extent. Titus Myers, the wide receiver, he's only played 42 snaps on the year, but he's not going to play either. Then there's some things to keep an eye on for Old Dom. So, otherwise, I believe it's Ja'Cory Thomas. No, Trey Brown. Trey Brown played 10 snaps in their final game. They don't really have any coaching changes. Does Trey Brown play? I don't know. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. I think I'm going to build. I'm only building 3 teams because I don't think this is a wise decision to be all in on this type of game. So I'm going to build 3 teams. I'll probably have Trey Brown on 1. I do like his pricing, but I'm really going to like the pricing on Ja'Cory Thomas in this spot because him, Trey Brown, and Abdul Rahim Gladding are the primary 3 wide receivers. I'm not as worried about opt-outs on the Old Dom side as I am on the South Florida side. So from the Old Dom side, you've got a 3-headed monster like we talked about at the running back position with Roach, Jones, and Hargrove are going to get most of the work. Now, it's like picking up a poor man's Boise running back room Other than Roach getting that 20 carry game, he's more likely to get double digit totes. But given it's a bowl game, it's going to kind of be all over the place. I think I would avoid Traquan Jones. I'd rather just go to Hargrove if I was going to play one of the secondary pieces. And then Roach is the most likely to get the most work. He's kind of come on strong down the stretch. So maybe that's your guy if you were going to play the old Dom run game. But a lot of the run game tends to go through the quarterback. So if we look, Colton Joseph, 19 carries, 20 carries, 13 carries, 16 carries, 18 carries. So his rush ability is up there. So I would buy into Heinickel being the top runner of the bunch. He's got a couple decent carry games in blowouts, but I think this is a spot where you see him run the football, and he's not nearly the passer that Colton Joseph is as far as accuracy goes. Now, granted, Colton Joseph and accuracy don't really go hand in hand. So I would buy into Heinickel as my top option. I don't know what to make of this South Florida team. That's the tricky part. So there's a few angles to go at for this thing. Alex Golesh, obviously the head coach, now gone to Auburn. He's mainly the play caller. Offensive coordinator Joel Gordon also gone. So really it's the defensive staff that stayed, the offensive staff that's now gone. Let's see here. Christian Neptune is out, not going to play. He's the secondary slot option. Chaz Nimrod, he hadn't played since week 7. He's out. So now the question becomes, they don't even know who's calling the offense. I think, honestly, it's going to be Byron Brown calling the offense. I legitimately think Byron Brown is calling the offense. The defensive line coach is serving as the interim coach. Brian Hartline is there but not involved. Almost all of the offensive staff is gone, and Byron Brown's serving as an assistant. I think Byron Brown probably ends up at Auburn, but that's neither here nor there in this situation. So you're down two of your top 5 wide receivers, we'll call it. The confidence level, I love Jeremiah Coger. Don't get me wrong. He's 6'3", freshman. Kid came on like a bat out of hell in this 4-game stretch. That's when I was playing him. I'm big on him long term. I personally think he goes with Golesh, given his size, frame, stature. Now that Perry Thompson and Malcolm Simmons have both entered the portal, you pair Cam Coleman with Jeremiah Coger, and that's an interesting combo. Now, does Coger play in the bowl game? I don't know. I kind of hope so. I want to play it as if he does, but I don't have a level of confidence in it because I'm worried that if he's going to be in the portal, does he just decide, hey, I'm just going to sit this one out? So Kayshawn Singleton has finished the year like we anticipated he would be when he started against Boise. And then he hit a lull in the middle of the year and really came on strong once Nimrod was out. Does Kayshawn Singleton end up being, he's the most likely to be the top option? I really want to spread exposure because Singleton's a junior and he's 6'3". Does he follow Golesh? Does he go with Byron Brown? It's possible. He's an athletic freak. The guy I'm most confident in is Mudia Rubin, the slot wide receiver, because he's a senior and he doesn't have anything to play for. So if I'm confident in anybody, it's Rubin to be on the field. He's gone 18, 36, and 20 the last 3, scored in each of them. Granted, Gaston Moore probably sucks, more than likely, given his pedigree. But Rubin's the guy I'm most confident in as far as getting the rock. So then that lends myself to saying, I think I mean, I don't even know who the best option is at the running back spot for them. It should be like it's one of those situations where what it should be versus what it is two different things. That's when you get in this type of situation, it becomes extremely difficult. Nakai Davenport should be the top option, but he's a sophomore. Is he thinking about leaving? Sam Franklin, he's a senior. He's gone. So is it Sam Franklin's backfield in this situation? Very well could be, but how much work does he get? Yada yada. Like that's where it gets tricky. I think I would buy into Sam Franklin to an extent. I'd be open to that. Alvin Isaac, also a sophomore, but not necessarily one that's going to be desired. I think Nakai Davenport could be a little bit desired in the portal, given his explosive run capability that he showed throughout the season. I'm probably going to avoid Davenport. I might go 1 out of 4. That's where we're trying to figure here. I think Heinickel's the best option as a captain. I know he's going to play. I know he's expensive. And I know I can fit pieces around him the way I want. The $1 million question is, who else are you paying up for? So it wouldn't be Trey Jones for me. I'm not all that interested. So he's kind of out of the pool. It would be Devin Roach if I was taking a running back for Old Dom, but I don't think I'm going to end up going there. I'll probably end up with Heinickel. See, everybody likes Davenport. That's the tough part. I'm trying to project around my opinion here. This is why we get to work through these things. I tried not to think too hard about this slate, given that I'm not exactly trying to go full bore after this thing. I just have a gut feeling on Sam Franklin there. I have a gut feeling on Madiah Rubin. I might play Rubin captain. I don't trust Old Dom, I'll be honest, but I think Old Dom probably covers in this one. It's my most likely scenario here. Yeah. All right. So this is my favorite build so far. We'll go with that as one for sure. Just this is banking on Singleton playing with Gaston Moore. I do think Gaston Moore should be able to throw the ball. Obviously, I like Koger. I think Singleton's more likely to play. I think Koger's the apple of the eye of the staff to move forward. And realistically, I think I'm going to take this shot a little bit more. I do like Rubin a good bit. I think there's going to be surprise opt-outs in this game. I would not be shocked by it. I really do think that there's going to be surprises in this spot. All right, let's throw that one in. I think I'm going to end up with 2 Heinickel teams. And then I think I'm going to play. Well, see, that's the problem. Here's your biggest issue is there's no reason. There is zero reason to spin down for a captain in this spot. So, like, I think Rubin's probably the most interesting spin down captain. But if you spin down for Rubin, why even do that? Because if you spin down for Rubin, what are you getting? You're getting both quarterbacks. All right, cool. I'm already getting them. Realistically, I do prefer Thomas to Gladding. So then I don't know that I really care that I'm getting Gladding. I don't care that I'm getting Roach. I don't care that I'm getting Davenport. Like, I'm not super interested in Davenport. So I don't know that I'm gaining anything out of this. Like, Thomas is my favorite one. Rubin, also favorite one. I don't mind paying him down for Franklin. I do think Franklin ends up. I just have this gut feeling that Franklin ends up with like 10, 15 points at 3.6, but you don't even need to get there. We know Gaston Moore's starting. Feel good about that. I feel about these is the 4 pairing that I feel actually fairly decent with. And then after that's the question marks. So realistically, the fun play here is to go Davenport. You either go Roach and Gladding, which I don't really love, or you go Davenport and Koger, and that's projecting that Koger actually plays, which maybe Singleton doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I do love Jeremiah Koger. I wonder if Koger plays, given he's a freshman. We can go Koger, Davenport. Davenport's definitely their best back. If he plays, he's good. Just don't know that he plays. I think I'm going to end up with this. I just don't know how I get away from this Roach. Like, see, they don't have any guys who catch the ball on like any running backs that catch the ball. He's really popped up because of the rushing on the back end. It's where it's just super, super interesting. This is like the weirdest bowl game. It's one of the weirdest bowl games because you have a split team, like a team that moves stuff around. And then you also have, what is Roach? Roach is a sophomore. Don't think he's moving, though, because he's not exactly good. Hargrove is a senior. He ain't going nowhere. He's done here. No, maybe not. He might have another year. Trey Jones, Jr., he's only played 1 year, really. This is his first year really playing much. That's where it's so hard to project this thing. All right. I still, like I said, Heinickel and Moore, we know are playing. I know Ruben's playing. I feel pretty good about Ja'Cory Thomas playing. So those 4 I feel good with. It's those last 2 spots that I really have no clue with. And I don't really love them either way. I think Davenport's a good play if he plays. If he doesn't play, it's Alvin Isaac that's the good play. I might play an Alvin Isaac. I really might play something there. Let's play Gaston Moore. Let's play just on the off chance that the kid actually is moderately okay. Got to have Heinickel. We're going to play Gladding and Ruben. Oh, sorry, not Alvin Isaac. Sam Franklin. So I'm fairly certain I feel okay with that one. Yeah, I feel good with that one. All right, yeah, Sam Franklin I feel good about. All right, then that kind of lets me just play whatever I want on the back end. So that's Gaston Moore, Dyer Rubin. Then do I feel better about Singleton or Koger? Because otherwise there is no other wide receivers. Like, let's see. There's literally no other wide receivers that have necessarily played at this point for this team. So, like, who else? It's got to be one of those 2. Because your top 5 leading wide receivers, like the next closest wide receiver or guy with a catch even is Wyatt Sullivan at 17. Everybody else, those are your leaders. Like it's literally Singleton, Koger, Rubin, Nimrod, Neptune. Well, if Nimrod and Neptune aren't playing, like your next closest wide receiver literally has 11 catches on the season. And that's Joshua Porter. Alvin Isaac might catch some balls, but I don't feel great about that either. I think Franklin runs a couple, maybe runs one in. That's how you get there with this. Oh, well, yeah, I could just play. I don't even know that Gaston Moore makes any sense being up here. Fuck you. Sorry. I'm going Heineken. I'm going Heineken. I'm going to buy that, and I'm just going to keep buying Ja'Cory Thomas. Or Ja'Cory. Where's he at? Why am I getting thrown off by old Dom players? Yeah, Ja'Cory Thomas. Yeah. All right. That's what I'm playing. Fun. What a fun slate, people. What a fun slate. You just had me run through that. It is not a fun slate, I'll be honest. I'm only playing 3 entries just so I can get the crowns, basically. But yeah, I would say, I mean, Gaston Moore's got a 39-yard projection rushing. So I'm tempted to play a Gaston Moore captain. Let's play 1. Never mind. Changed my mind. I do not like Gaston Moore. But I'm going to play him as a captain in 1. You are the captain now. I'm leaving 5K on the table, and I feel crazy about it. I mean, the easy answer right here is instead of Sam Franklin, you go Davenport. It makes so much more sense to go Davenport. I just think Sam Frank. You know what? I'm going with this because I have a Davenport team, and I'm going to try to play something different that nobody else is going to play, which is leaving 5K on the table. That's going to be the beauty of these bowl games. Like, just slap it at the wall. I mean, look at yesterday. You know, Cam Cook being out, nobody knew. Like, that bowl game was atrocious. FanDuel was the easiest cash of all time. You literally just played Jordan Levitt as captain and you got everything else. And then even with the donut, because he was 95% owned, you were fine. And just by having Levitt as the captain, you were fine because I think more than 50% of the field had old boy there. So, all right. I want to talk a little portal action here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep talking quarterbacks in the portal because this is interesting. And then I'll hit on a little bit of running backs. So I'm going to share this. Enter this. All right. We're going to have some good football later this week. But we got movement. So what the movement's going to be, Mestamaker entered the portal now. He's right here. He's going to go to Oklahoma State. Like, he's following his coach. It's going to happen. That's a guarantee. I think LSU's well in the market for one of these quarterbacks under Kiffin. I don't know. He could easily go try and get one of the Ole Miss quarterbacks. I would expect that he is interested in one of them. I'd also expect that he's interested in these guys. I would hope that Sunbelt Billy makes a little run at Lagway. That's a joke, but it would be funny if he did. And like we talked about yesterday, I personally would rank it Levitt as a clear 1 with a bullet. I would put Lagway at 2, Raiola at 3, Sorsby at 4. That would be my personal ranking. And I like Colton Joseph right around where I personally think he's too low. He should go up where Minchie is. I think Minchie, Joseph, and these more mobile guys, Aiden Childs, they end up more in the like a mid to lower level team. I think you're going to see Miami make a big run at Levitt or Raiola, one of the two. That's where Miami's going to end up. I would not be shocked. I think Miami ends up with Levitt. He just screams Miami. Look at the picture. Now, They don't call the kid Baby Mahomes for nothing. Man tears his ACL, Mahomes tears his ACL. Like, it's just, the stuff's uncanny. I think he ends up at Texas Tech. They got a ton of money. Mahomes went there. Would you be shocked if Raiola left Nebraska and went to Texas Tech? So I'm think you're looking at Miami, Texas Tech. Feel good there. Oklahoma State, feel good there. I think Rocco Becht ends up entering the portal, goes to Penn State. So that's 3 of the big jobs locked in. Sorsby is a wild card. Maybe that's I don't know exactly where he ends up. But that is a big time wild card here in this spot. It depends where you think big jobs are open. Auburn is looming. I think that feels like a lagway spot potentially. Auburn or LSU could be either of these two for my money. Now, if Miami misses on Leavitt and maybe Leavitt ends up at LSU, then one of these two is in play for the Miami spot, specifically Lagway. I think that's where you end up. And then somebody's going to have to end up on a fallback option, which probably ends up being Minchie, Childs, or Joseph. So or Jaden Craig. I really do like Jaden Craig. I think Jaden Craig's super interesting. We'll see on that one. Dylan Lonergan, I think, is very interesting from a development standpoint. Although y'all know my love for Michael Van Buren. So honestly, I think Caden Hauser sucks. I'd put Michael Van Buren right up in here with Aiden Childs. I don't think he's very much so different than Aiden Childs. They're very similar for my money. Running backs, I think you're going to see a ton of movement. I don't ignore these rankings. They are stupid. Like, Marquise Davis is not the number 1 ranked back in the portal. They're ridiculous for this. It's all based on their original recruiting ranking. Because remember, he went from Missouri. He hadn't played at all. He was the 3rd string back. If he was that good, he would have played. I personally would rank it Edwards 1, Baxter 2 from a capability standpoint in college. Edwards is extremely good in college. I think he's a hired assassin most of the places he goes. So goodness knows how he's going to deal, because remember, he went to Colorado, left, went to Kansas State, arguably quit. Something went on, because I still do not think he turned that ankle in the bowl game. I still think that's complete nonsense and actually wasn't true. That was not like the opening game in Ireland. Your star returns a punt, muffs the first punt, and turns an ankle, allegedly, even though he never turned an ankle, because we all saw the slow-mo of the punt with nobody around him, and he just planted. Like, it made no sense. So I still don't buy it. I still think it's a little sketchy. Baxter, clear number 2 for me. I'm a big Baxter guy, even though he's got the legs of a frog's butt. It's just a flat backside on that man. I want some junk in the trunk on my running back, especially when he's 216 pounds. Baxter don't have it, but I'm a big Baxter guy. I'm heavily invested in Baxter. I'm a big believer. I think he goes somewhere and absolutely explodes. I think Texas. So this is where the interesting part of this comes in. Weiser's there. That does not matter to me. I don't think Weiser's special. Baxter is gone. I think Baxter ends up with a starting role at a very high-profile school. I think Gibson goes, and he'll be fine somewhere, but he's not exactly good. I don't rate Gibson anywhere near where they have him here. I would rate him way down in this range. I'd rank him behind Fame Ejeboy. I like Ejeboy a ton, but we'll get to him. So you're probably saying, why is there all these defections from Texas? So they just went and got Florida's running back coach, Jabbar Jalouk. And you're saying, why is that important? I think Jaden Baugh is your next Texas running back. There's a ton of smoke there. That's the reports I have, is that Jaden Baugh probably enters the portal and goes to Texas. Now, I don't know that John Summerall is going to be in the market for another running back. Probably will be. I bet he brings one of these guys in. Um, but Jacoby Jackson, very talented runner there. They do like to split work. I wouldn't be surprised if a Baxter or an Edwards ends up in Florida. Would not surprise me one bit. I'm not a Mekhi Frazier guy. I don't think he ends up with a high end job. He got beat out too much at Michigan State, and that's not like the fact that his transfer ranking's 90 compared to his recruiting ranking. I don't think he's proved anything. So he's not exactly good. I like Jaheim White. I thought he's played pretty well for West Virginia. Been banged up too much. Don't expect him to get a big time job. I don't know that he really transfers down, but I think he's kind of an East West style guy in this situation. Cam Davis, I think, gets a fine bounce back spot. He never fit the Malzahn system. I was open about that. That's why I said he wasn't going to get any work this year, why I thought Sawchuk fit the system better and Sawchuk would get the opportunities. Kind of got roasted for that, but nailed it. I think Cam Davis ends up with a good gig somewhere. I don't think he transfers to a bad situation or down at all. I think he ends up just laterally moving. To what extent you believe a lateral move is, I think he does get a high-end deal there. I don't trust Cam Edwards of UConn, but I do rate him. So I would rate him fairly highly because his pass catching and running ability, his dual threat is very good. So highly interested in him to see where he lands. It'll be interesting to see where these running backs go because it doesn't matter that a team has a very good running back. I think Arizona probably lands one of these guys. They're going to need a mobile back. Jarrett Gibson was actually fit Arizona very well. Now that they're probably losing Mahdi and Riscano, I think Gibson is a great fit, or a Jaheim White is a great fit for that Arizona offense and would fit extremely well. Also, wouldn't be surprised if Arizona State's in the market to keep adding. Wouldn't be surprised if any number of teams are looking to add. Auburn, probably for one of the big boys. Baxter would fit that situation pretty well too. Like I mentioned, so we get to some three fun guys right here that I'm extremely interested where they land. Edgeaboy is a guy that would be more highly rated if Darius Taylor didn't exist. I really do like Edgeaboy. I think wherever he lands is a big deal. If he goes down to the MAC for some strange reason, he will absolutely destroy the MAC. I don't think he will, but if he did go to like a Toledo or an Ohio, good gravy, he's going to destroy it. That's going to be interesting to see where that lands. I think Evan Dickens, he's coming off a great year for Liberty. He probably goes up a level, but I think his going up a level is like a Memphis, right? Memphis is going to be in the market. They pay a ton of money. I think Virginia Tech's probably definitely in the market, although Hawkins looked pretty good. They're going to need a complimentary back. So Dickens wouldn't surprise me there at like a Virginia Tech in that area. Typically, these guys are mostly going to stay where they're roughly where they are at regionally for the most part. Not a ton of guys are going to be flying around cross country here. This kid I want to keep an eye on too. So CJ Miller, these are like three guys that if they land in the right situation can absolutely continue these two continue to rise. Edgeaboy could just explode. He's absolutely amazing. But Miller was a monster for Mercer. And he's got a great size profile. He has a good fit, very similar fit to what was that Liberty running back? that was a freaking bowling ball. That kid was a absolute just horse. Cooley, I'm gonna look stats up. It's Cooley. I know Quentin Cooley. Is it Quentin Cooley? Yeah, I gotta find it now. 2022. I know he's on that roster. Is that it? No, he's 2023. Oh yeah, it's 2023. That's when they got Salter. Quentin Cooley. Yep, the bowling ball. That kid was he was like, what was the kid we played? Mike Tolbert. He was like Mike Tolbert out there. I think CJ Miller's got some Tolbert to him. So I like that kid. I think he's a fun guy to keep an eye on. And then obviously I got to wrap up with my favorite guy, my guy. I do like Dior Hubbard. I thought he showed extremely well at the end of the season, specifically that Colorado game, how well he caught the ball and ran it. I thought he played extremely well given the circumstances of what he got. Rich Rod is going to go out and buy one of these guys, whether that's a Boy, a Cam Edwards, an Evan Dickens, a Jarrett Gibson, CJ Miller, Cam Davis. Cam Davis would fit the Rich Rod system fairly okay. Dylan Edwards would fit it, CJ Baxter. So it's interesting that Hubbard and Jaheim White are in the portal because Rich Rod's going to need a back and he's going to need a few of them. He might go grab a couple. Me personally, I've been high on this kid, so I'm going to continue to talk about him. John Bray Dubar, a.k.a. Breezy. Love this kid. He screamed Alexander Madison to me. He's been banged up. That's why he hadn't quite gotten the opportunities. Obviously, he sat behind Genty. His first year behind Genty, he actually did some good work spelling him. And then it kind of got into this messy situation. First year, he had 62 carries, 335 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then he's been hurt. He was hurt in 2024, which limited him to 25 carries. And then 2025, he was banged up a little bit, but they had like this weird 3-headed monster thing going on. So, if we look, like, he had 15 for 91 in a game in 2023. He had 10 for 57 and a touchdown, 10 for 62. Anytime he got double-digit carries, he had north of 5 yards a carry. So I was really interested to see where he lands, and he'll be a guy that I'm following closely to see where he gets to. I'm just gonna root for my priors, but I'm a big Dubar guy. I really would like to see him land in a positive situation. So to wrap things up, I will tell you for the game tonight, just do everything you can to pay attention to the news pregame, because it is going to be extremely difficult to project what's going to happen here. Heineken and Moore are the two guys you should feel the best about. Rubin's the third guy you should feel the best about that they actually play. Outside of that, it's anybody's guess. I feel pretty good about Thomas playing. I feel pretty good about Raheem Gladding playing. I don't feel great about anybody else after that because Singleton, 50-50 for me. Koger, 50-50 for me. Davenport, probably 50-50. I'm probably 60-40 Singleton, 50-50 Koger, 50-50 Davenport. I don't trust any Old Dominion running back. I don't know about Trey Brown. I'm going to avoid that situation because he only played 10 snaps in their last game, so that makes me a little nervous. Obviously, the kickers I feel pretty good about. Grammatica, and Eichner. So if you want to play a kicker, go right ahead. I mean, at least they'll be out there more than likely. Hargrove probably plays, but that's a timeshare at best, and I really don't like it. And then Franklin, I know is going to play. Isaac, I'm fairly certain is going to play, but it's ugly. I'll be honest. It's an ugly game. You know, ESPN hyped it up as one of the best quarterback matchups of the week. It's of the bowl season. It's probably the worst. Let's be real. Heineken and Moore, it might be the single worst bowl quarterback matchup all season. I highly suggest you set an alarm for 30 minutes before this game starts and Google or not like Twitter search each person's name in your lineup if you're playing one lineup and just see if there's any news. And then if you can find it, or if you find a beat reporter you want to follow, do that. And that's going to be your best option. But there's no guarantees because there's plenty of these guys are going to warm up and then they're not going to play. So play the guys you're most confident in playing. If you leave salary on the table, you leave salary on the table. Heinekel's mobile. Moore is less mobile, but probably a better passer. He might have better weapons out there. He might not. But Old Dominion's defense is probably worse. But considering that the USF defensive staff is still there, Old Dominion staff is fully intact. So I think you can feel pretty good there. But good luck to everybody tonight. This is one of the may the odds ever be in your favor type deals. At least Saturday for the big slate, we're not going to have to worry about anything because those guys are all playing. That's kind of the beauty of it. Just sit back, relax, enjoy this for what it is. Don't overextend yourself. Don't play a lot of volume. I mean, like I'm not playing hardly any volume because I just don't want to. It's not worth it. There's not going to be very much upside to this in this situation, and I won't be around to necessarily check everything I would like to check. So play cautiously today would be my number one suggestion. And best of luck. Hopefully